Day. That's Apple, yeah, taking out day highs here. It has been a bit of a tale of two sides of the story here as far as big tech specifically is concerned. Apple to the upside, Microsoft struggling on the other hand, so kind of offsetting each other right now. There is still a negative day overall. There is the that MSS, absolutely crazy. Halted multiple times here again, 2.5 million shares priced at $4. Very, very small float getting the squeeze treatment here this afternoon. Market back to the upside right now. Still negative 0.36 for the NASDAQ, 0.15 for the S&P 500. Here's why. Mostly positivity coming from tech. There is some pharma names down here as well that are showing strength. Eli Lilly, J&J, and Merck. Apple and NVIDIA making up most of the tech strength. Oracle notably strong as well, but Meta, Microsoft, as I said, and Google here. Downside, Amazon also downside. There was a lot of strength early on in this group in banks. That has since disappeared. We're now seeing JP Morgan red on the day. Keep in mind, coming up in a week, not tomorrow, but in a week's time on Friday, we'll get the start of earnings season with the big banks. Energy names down here also red, 1.8% for XOM. Oil still struggling 2 days in a row here. Better part of 7.5% at the lows in 2 days for oil. I wanted to mention Starbucks there, touched 2% to the upside today. Pretty good day for SBUcks. That's how the overall market's setting up here with a couple hours to go. We're still inside the range of the past couple of days, but red on the day. Yeah, treasuries, I mean, we were down, but seeing a little bit of a bounce here as far as the 10-year is concerned, 2-year as well. A little bit of a bounce here this afternoon along with the dollar. Frank Caberna coming up this afternoon around 2:45. We'll talk to him ahead of non-farm payrolls coming up tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. So that's going to be a big benchmark for the overall market and for inflation as well. We'll see how. I mean, we've had 3 employment numbers this week in total, if you include jobless claims this morning. So we had the JOLTS number, we had the ADP number, and then jobless claims this morning. All 3, all over the place, kind of back and forth, really not giving a clear indication as to what we can expect, but going to be an interesting one. We were touching on, if you're with us in the pre-market this morning, we were touching on big tech in general. There was a couple of kind of secondary minor headlines for Amazon, for Microsoft, for Apple, for Google. Right across the board, it was Microsoft and Amazon on a UK note, guys. That was top of the list this morning.
Oh, man. We are
14.9 on the futures.
Yeah, man, big time. I mean, we have a bunch of longs right now. We actually just punched out by accident on Microsoft at 318, and we just punched right back in, or else you would see us with this 317.50 long break right there. But here we go, man, right back up to the upside. And we've already seen the Widowmaker. You remember when Randy came over here and turned these bulls into bears? Since then, the market's been straight to the upside. So I'm actually really glad that Randy did that, because now we have blast off. Look at this Apple, man. We were very, very patient with it. We waited for 174.50 break. There it is right now. Only one trade on Apple today. Like, it's just, this is what I'm trying to do. There's the break right there. There's the long. So we took that in. Now it's 55 cents in the money. Microsoft is the one that's 80 cents in the money. But again, I was really long at 317.50. Look at these shorts in Microsoft. And then now the long. So yeah, things have definitely flipped on its side here, upside. And then I tweeted this out as well. Look at this Palantir long right here. 40 cents in the money on PLTR long. My last out was right here at 75, well, 70s and then 75s. So now we'll see if Palantir could take out the top of the morning to you as well. But yeah, wow. Longs now printing, and we are pretty happy. We actually had a monster trade on the Qs as well that we tweeted out. And then we lost our last 10% there. So we took $1 on the Qs short, and then boom goes the dynamite to the upside. So yeah, man, good day here for trading so far. Yeah, inverse Randy ETF. I think that would be a good idea.
It's one of those things. It's weird how this is working out with the whole like switching of the bears to the bulls. So until we crack 14.9, there will be no switching of these into the bulls. They're not going bull until we get over 14.9. I feel like that's where the NASDAQ is headed. This morning, I mean, Apple was never giving us the dip at 171. The local high breakout was here on the week. That was that weekly high at 174.5. Like, that's where you go long on the break. I added on the way up. So I actually had it on the break and then added on the way up at 67s. I think you can get to 176. That was that other level. I guess we're supposed to talk about Amazon and Microsoft first. Of course we are.
Are we doing Amazon and Microsoft?
Well, I just realized, it's like, yeah, there was the Amazon, Microsoft, and yada, 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 lawsuits. I got out of Amazon a little bit early. Well, first, I had the higher low. This was like oh, there we go. I had the higher low, which was one of the ideas for not just lunch money, but in the morning, long underneath 125, want to find support. Got stopped out, but it was a higher low, so jump back in, scalp, trail too early. Missed VWAP in here. I think if you're trend up on Amazon, you still have some room to go. It's not really all that crazy. You closed at 127. This morning, 127 is where it dumped at the open. So if we're going to get to 14.9 or into the overnight highs, Amazon's got another $1 that it could play. So I guess they're looking for a little bit of a dip buy here to get into this. If 26 starts holding, maybe you go long up to 26 level. Otherwise, kind of looking at this 125 mid as a nice little level there. So Amazon's not green on the day just yet, but I think you can highlight. I mean, I heard Sharif talking about closing prices. I mean, this actually closed exactly at $127. So if you're in this one long, that should be the target. And if you're buying the dip and we hold 14.8, then I think you know exactly where you can get to. I don't think I would short this unless it got to, like up, if it gets to the top and we're late enough in the day, I think you can consider those kind of reversals. But there's still a good $1 for this bad boy to go.
All right. You're so upset about Caterpillar.
Yeah.
Downside a little bit today. I saw Deere was too. Apple was on the watch list this morning for a couple of reasons. I was reading this just before we came back on there. Tim Cook in there selling, $100 million worth of stock ahead of the iPhone 15 launch. Kind of curious. He's missing out on better part of a full % here today if he did sell over the past couple of days.
Yeah, well, some insider selling there, but yeah, make too much of that.
Tim Cook's fine, don't worry.
Yeah, he's good. $80 million worth, was it? You told me?
100.
$100 million. We saw KeyBank yesterday with the downgrade on Apple saying that iPhone sales were sluggish. We'll have to wait and see. They're also talking about, the consumer being weak and from a more macroeconomic perspective. Apple, one of the leaders today for the Mag 7 up 0.8.
Yeah, nice look, guys. Day highs here, leading the charge even for big tech.
So there's something the NOS boss always says about insider selling versus insider buying. And there's a really big difference between like why somebody who owns or is an insider in the company wants to add to their position and then why they want to sell. Because you've got to sell at some point, and a lot of times those are planned well in advance. So you, especially in that case, they could just be randomly at a time, and then you read too much into it when it was going to happen within that month or whatever it might be. So on the higher time frame, what I love about this on the weekly for Apple is just when it's looked like, you see the downward trend on the weekly chart, like it has a chance to pull this reversal. And you can sort of see the stair step down in a bit of a channel, now making a lower low. The last time it had this kind of a move, you had a couple of weeks up, and it was a good solid $13, $14 move up in Apple. If the same thing is gonna happen and the market's bouncing to go into a trend down, meaning the trend down isn't even over, then Apple could easily get above 180 and still be respecting this trend. That's always a great sign. I mean, it gives the long some juice here. Don't have to tell you guys that the long has some juice today. I'm looking for a target going back into last week. If the breakout was from here, 174.5, if you go right back into the local high, 177 and 176 are kind of the two big levels there for Apple. So great day for them. Again, don't read too much into insider selling. Right? It's not the same thing as if Tim Cook bought a boatload of shares, you're going to care more about that than if he sold.
Yep, exactly. Good point there. All right, so yeah, we're just doing the same kind of stuff all day here that we've been doing, and that is waiting for stock to go up. I'm just going to put my stop in there for Palantir as well. And just quickly, because we're on the Apple tip, I bought that breakout. We only have it one time. Nice move. It looks like it's trying to break a little bit lower. We did get stopped out of our Microsoft, which is fine. But we took some outs right now. So we are 60, well, we're only 40 cents in the money on this, but who knows where we're going to go. It looks like more upside possibly. I'm looking at Apple here. That's the 21 period. That's a little bit of a break lower. So I feel like, we can get, I don't even have any stop orders out for Apple. So let's go 174.89 and we'll do it for half of what we have left. So if we do break back down below, we'll get a piece out right there. But I still like Apple. It's a positive name today. And yeah, let's go Apple. And I agree. Tim Cook and all these guys insider selling, and the amount of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars of stock options these guys probably have, I'm not too worried about any of that insider selling. Like Neil mentioned, they have to sell at some point. So there it is. We'll see what happens with Apple now. Definitely off its lows of 169, but it still has a lot of work to do, man. You're still off 30 points from its, well, 25 points, 20 points from its high of 197, 198. So yeah, you're still off 23 points there from its high. So a lot of work to do still on Apple, but I like the trajectory of this name for sure.
All right, let's talk oil, actually. Just watching this, back to the downside in a hurry here, as we have 20 minutes to go in the pit session. That's XOM here. Let me grab this and bring that over. You can see heavy selling coming back in here as we head towards the close there. It's kind of small, but almost 2%. Once again, today, if you remember this time yesterday, we were talking about 5.5% on this same oil contract. So getting ugly here in a couple of days.
Yeah, and it's been a tough couple of days for oil, especially after, the reports about the macroeconomic demand really not being what they anticipated was going to be. A positive note here for oil, Chevron, CVX up, looks like 1/3% on news that the Australia LNG workers vote to resume the strike. So that comes vis-a-vis a union representative up definitely against the trend here, up 1/3.
Yeah, that being said, the individual actual equity stocks related to energy, I mean, they kind of gap down and have done not much, guys.
Yeah, this is this is an interesting day because, I mean, if you look at energy is getting smoked, consumer staples are getting smoked. What was something else we were looking at that was a lot further down than I think we would have expected on a day where, you're happy that the NASDAQ is making a bounce, but it's down 0.5%. XOM is down 2%, broke the 200 period moving average. It's getting into, look at the pullback on this stock. I understand oil's come back in, but we said this morning. 106, big time support on XOM. 100. You've seen AMD bounce off 100. What do you think XOM's going to do with $100? I'm not saying we get there. We're not getting there today. I mean, obviously that's not going to happen. But when if it does get there, I think that can be an interesting level. The oil futures, obviously, things are going to be closed in a bit there, so you're not going to get crazy moves. 110, if we happen to challenge that, is a 50 period on the daily for XOM. So any bounce could run into some resistance off the 110 level. That's the only one that was at a key level I think worth watching. But yeah, an absolutely insane sort of drawback or whatever you want to call it, starting yesterday in XOM. Not as bad today, but the trend to the downside. There's some things getting really badly beaten up today. Not that this is the worst of them. I think you're probably looking at, obviously, Rivian, Coke. There was something else. It was a consumer staple that was doing worse than Coke. But it doesn't really matter. There's a lot of things taking it on the chin. It's great that you have big cap tech looking pretty strong in the afternoon here. But there is this flight into those kind of safety, high-quality names that can handle recessions and decreases in demand. It seems like that's what's sort of happening here. And if it continues, you just want to play the trend. The trend is your friend. You don't want to be on the bid of them on a day like today.
All right, oil, yeah. We talked about that with Randy yesterday. He was looking to get some dip buy opportunities there in oil. We wrote it down today, looking for some of those opportunities. I thought there was a chance that maybe we started to bounce a little bit there on oil.
Oh, fries.
It's what the hell? It's
you say his name.
I was literally just said that you came in. This guy honestly is too much. I just said about you looking to buy some oil yesterday, and now today it's down another 2%. So maybe it's getting a little bit better to buy today. So we'll have a quick look here. I want to buy some Occidental because, of course, Warren Buffett is in this name, and you've broken way, way below, man. So let's watch out for $59 down here on Oxy. But, yeah, Randy over here, man. I went and got some Caramello coffee at Second Cup, so... it's pretty good. I haven't had the flavored coffee in forever, so I went over there and bought this. But you know what? This costs $2.99.
$2.99
for medium coffee there.
Those are crack prices.
That's drip coffee too. It's not even it's a fancy flat white or something nice like that. But anyways, that's what that is. All right, see you, Randy. All right, back over to the big guys.
All right, let's talk Rivian on the other end of the car spectrum here. I mean, you guys were talking about Ford on that note today as well, but yeah, this is pretty ugly, or on its way to be anyways. 20% at the bottom there.
Yeah, $1.5 billion green note offering. The only thing really here is this green note offering for all the debt holders, it gives them tax credits and tax incentives. For that, it's due in 2030. You can pay it back. Rivian can pay it back with cash or stock. They also reported, Brendo, the preliminary earnings here, 1.29 to 1.33 billion in revenue for Q3, up decidedly year over year. It was 551 million last year, and they got about 9.1 billion in cash. So strap in. Let's see what they do.
I was just double checking. I think it's November 7th. We actually hear from them as far as actual earnings, but yeah, preliminary numbers coming out. Wanted to go out to the daily chart here real quick just to highlight this. It's 2:15. Better part of an hour and a half or more to go here still, and it's the highest volume day here on Rivian, guys, in better part of 2 months.
I think if you're,
Why would it be doing so much volume today?
I can't imagine why. But if you looked up bull trap or like trapping longs or just anything along those lines, like this is going to be like almost case in point. The flush 2 days ago, like Rivian, forget about that. Actually, the flush to start the week on Rivian, it gapped up 25 and got destroyed. It was a great short. The next day, it flat bottom breaks 23 all the way down into 21.50, then makes the entire move back yesterday. And if you bought at the close, which generally speaking, technically speaking, there was a paper on this, buying closes is more effective than buying opens in the long run if you buy the overall market. If you bought that, it's not just that it was bad, it was like the worst possible decision you could have made in the markets. I'm sure there's probably something else, but I mean, this is nasty. I don't even have a short on the stock today. This is where it's at. It's not that it's a bad day. Sometimes you can have a good day trading, but all you can think about is the fact that Rivian was down 20% and you had a couple of SSR bounces on it, which is fine because it bounced off 20 and that was pretty good, and bounced off 19 and that went to 1930. That's not that bad. Like, and you're getting out at break even when it happens. But if you just shorted the open at 21, you don't have much of a reason to be out of that trade just yet. The trend is your friend to the end. When it possibly bends, it only goes 30 cents. But that short, it's not often you get like 15%, 10%, whatever the hell it is, off the open, probably more like 10%, but that's nasty. Should have been initially short off the break. There's not a ton, it's not a great excuse for it. I can't even think of a good one, but you know, once you miss it, you make the next trade and move on. Just should have found the way. Maybe this break, after the SSR bounce at 20, this could have been a short entry off the 20 level. That's about the only place that I think it was obvious to have worked the short was after that nice bounce at 20. Like everybody that was happy about it probably got trailed out there, and then you're reversing into the short. You know, sometimes you can have an idea that works, but it can cloud your mind towards something which is better, if that makes any sense. Or away from something that...
Yeah, that makes sense. We only went long Rivian today, which was crazy because there it is at 20, nice long in there. We got 40 cents or 45 cents on the maximum before eventually it came back in. And then we tried it again right here off this little regional bottom that at the time was the bottom, 19.19. It's actually right where we are right now. And again, that worked, man. We got up into the 50s, into the 60s before dropping it off for flat again. So yeah, Rivian today is going to be a good trade for us only on the long side. So sometimes you can win on the long side as well. And then, so that's what I did there. Now I mean, it's at a short spot one more time, but I'm worried about that 13% short float. So I only really want to go long. I'll probably pick this up around 19 and just see what's going on with this 200 period moving average. So maybe $19, 18.85. I'm not super excited. I'm more excited about Palantir, which you can see we have a monster on right there right now. We did get out of our Microsoft as that dipped below, and now it's right back upside again. So, yeah, needs some work to be done here this afternoon, but I'm excited, man. It's been a good day for the market. Nice moves everywhere around and about. So, and then a new position alert for me right now because might as well do it as we're going to talk about VFS next. DraftKings. So I'm going to short DraftKings. Like, look at this. It's right there. 28.40. Let's see if DraftKings can get to the downside. Right now we're short right here at 24, so you could join me if you want. Probably going to add to this trade, but was waiting for a bump to get more shares closer to this level, but so far so good here on DKNG. Nice little downside push. Let's see if it can continue. If the market turns around, down 1.5%. I think I got like eyelash. I like this short, so give it to us closer to 40 and we'll be more happy, but for right now, DKNG starting a new short position.
All right, out of nowhere this morning we get VinFast earnings, was a little unexpected. There wasn't much in the way of volume in the pre-market, I think, as a result, but it was completely to the upside regardless. I mean, the numbers actually weren't that bad. Sales, they reiterated their production guidance, but hey, here we are right back at the lows from yesterday once again, $8 trying to hold here for VFS.
Yeah, it was an interesting earnings report here, Brendo. The Q3 revenue increased about 159% year over year to 8.25 trillion dong. And then the net loss also increased as well, Brendo, 15 trillion dong, up 33.7% year over year. In case you're wondering, $1 is equal to 24,380 dongs.
A lot of dongs.
I actually wasn't wondering that, but now I know and I already forget. So, you know, here's the thing about VinFast. Like, I'm not even trying to be remotely clever about this or tell you that there's anything like supremely intelligent about how you would trade VinFast today. But if you can't, just look at the chart yesterday and then tell me what you would do. So at the open, this broke at 9.15, made a bottom at 8.80, a lower high right in here at about 9.15, then tanked to $8, held $8, and the best bounce off 8 was about 8.40, 8.45. So what does it do today on this surprise earnings, or what, I don't know, if you want to call them good? I don't even know what, I didn't really read the numbers, didn't really care. So it broke out at 9, failed essentially the same top, bounced off of $8 and made the same higher low. So you short that same level that it did yesterday, you hold it to the same $8 level that it's at today, and it's been bouncing off of. So every now and then, like, you literally just want to, if it's gonna repeat the same pattern, just do the same, try to do the same thing. Now, clearly, was a missed opportunity. I had a different plan this morning. I actually thought the short was going to be off of 950. I'm like, oh, it's going to go squeezing. I'll short 950 to 10 because that's a much bigger move up. It just never happened, and then you have to chase the next move. If it breaks 8 even, I like a flat bottom break on VFS. Nasty, nasty trade for anybody that's been in this for a while. I don't have to tell anybody that when these things are going crazy and it doesn't make any sense, everybody knows it's going down. You don't know when, but you know it's going to come all the way back. This came all the way back, broke the bottom, fell another 35%, then had good earnings and gave up the entire 10% gain in about half an hour. That tells you all you need to know about VinFast. If it goes up, my first thought is short the pops. Be patient and find a good level, but it's not to chase this one to the long side almost ever. I don't know where the bottom is going to be here, but I'm pretty sure we haven't found it yet.
All right. Forget about where I'm done with VinFast. Amazon right now, good short. We just shorted it. It's 20 cents in the money. We just put this on 2 minutes ago. There it is right there against the high. So one more time, man. We're short here at 15. My out was 25. 10 cents. We're 20 cents in the money, so that's a good one. DraftKings did go down. We did get some out at 17. We are waiting for some more down here. 10s, 11s, 12s, and then $28 coming through on that one. Quickly, Palantir. I mean, we don't need to be quick. Actually, I don't know, man. Like, maybe now we just get out if this breaks back down through 80, but let's try to hold Palantir. I did put a stop. Actually, I'm going to cancel that stop. My stop was going to be down through 70 right here, that same fill. But, you know, now that it keeps on going back up to the upside, we are right at the top of the day one more time here. So maybe that is something. What is that, 1579? Okay, Palantir, all right. We'll just put this on. 1570... I mean, I feel like we should get out if it breaks it. Let's go 77. Breaks that 80 level. We'll give it a little bit more room. Put that order in, and there we go. So, I mean, like, not only am I putting these trades on in front of everybody, but we're also showing you guys our outs. So make sure you do hit the like and the subscribe. We do have Frank coming through very soon, so that should be cool. I'm waiting for Amazon to, honestly, like, it's back down to the 50 period. We always say when you're playing retracement plays, the 50 period is not a horrible area to be concerned with. So there's the out. The 50 period right now at 95. We just take our last fill right there right now at, not our last, that was our last fill, but 126.01. So a nice little downside push there happening for us. So yeah, man. Good trading here today. I think it can continue. We'll still try to remain net short. Apple, I could get out now. We only have 20% left. I'm just going to hold this to flat. So 174.50 break on Apple is where we'll get out. I'll actually just put that in for you right now as well. If that breaks down, we're going to get out of that one. I don't mind. I mean, the short would be great. If the short hits right now, I have 3 times the shares on Amazon that I do on Apple and infinitely more times on DraftKings. But again, just a $28 name versus the others are in the hundreds. So that's why we roll deep with this. Let's see what happens right now with DraftKings pushing back in. It's at 17 again. I mean, come on, man. Am I really just going to take this out? I don't want to. But let's just put a bid at 16. Maybe we'll get 16, Phil. But anyways, my bids right now on DraftKings, more, better share size down here at 13. So right ahead of the 50 period. There it is. We'll take a 16 as it runs right through us. But here we go, man. Glad that we talked about this earlier. It's DraftKings short, it's Amazon short, and we can spin the money soon.
Yeah, I'm at the same level from this morning. If you're going to give it at the same time the futures are going, I'm just going to go right back to the wall. I've been on it with one stop out that happened just about 145, and it's going to be 36 Intel. You can see, not terribly complicated. Yesterday's high, yesterday's close, basically the same level of resistance over there on Intel. NVIDIA is starting to break back down. My stop is almost literally break even. Whoops, I went to go to Apple, and I was going to go Tesla after that. My stop is underneath this lower high on Apple, which is close to break even, but I didn't want to get to Tesla very quickly. Like Tesla and yesterday's close are in for a collision course. If we're gonna, like yesterday, this was an absolute runner. Like you saw how strong it was. It kind of ran out of steam right around this 261 area, closed at 261.16. If it can hold on to 61, yesterday's close, I think that Tesla's the one you don't want to fight if we're going up. And if you got to buy high, if this dip holds, if we're gonna maybe make a run at 14.9, I like the chances of Tesla here because it's flat on the day. It was so super strong yesterday. It's almost like it's got to be the one. It doesn't have to be the one, but it certainly looks like it could be the one for the dip buy. There were a few other things that we didn't really get to this morning. Shout out to Adara for doing the crypto segment every single day. Coin is actually unusually strong. It's up 1% into a NASDAQ that's down 0.5, but if you've been tracking Bitcoin, it's maybe not as big of a surprise. What I do like about this is you have almost a clean double top at $75 here. So if we are going to break out, this is still, I want to say 12% short float. Let me double check. 13% short float. So it's still one of those highly shorted names. If it breaks out that 75, it's been known to rip some faces off when it makes that break. It's relatively strong here, consolidating higher. Just another thing that could be a runner. Market is trying to turn, but if we're going to go higher, like what do I like? I mean, Tesla right now looks pretty solid. If it can hold at 61, Coinbase has a bit of a squeeze potential if it can take out that 75 level as well. So there's a lot to be watching here as we are at some key levels. And now that we're through the rundown, I don't know if I heard that in my ear. Is that correct? Let's get to the desk and handle some business.
As always, the rundown, guys, brought to you by our friends over at Trade Ideas. See what's moving in the moment with Trade Ideas, used by everyone on the show and a lot of people out on the floor. If you have not done so yet, scan that QR code, bottom right corner right now. Get yourself 20% off. Side note, still 30 at Trade Ideas. Shout out to our friends over at Trade Ideas.
Guys are there.
Remember I was like, what is the other consumer staple that's getting destroyed today? It was Bud. That's what, because I was fighting for it. I'm like, there's something that was really, really crazy this morning. Not this morning, this afternoon. It was Bud, the flush in the 52. It's actually recovering right now. Interesting if there isn't bids on some of those. Like Coke is getting, Coke today, wow. If you talk about downtrends, I know it's 4% and Rivian's 20%, but the trend is unbelievable. It's just unreal that there is no bid today on Coke. Like, look at it on the daily chart. This is a hammer candle. Coke doesn't do this. It hasn't done this in, you know what, I can't, maybe like here if you go back into September of 2022, and even then I don't think that's as big of a percentage move. I'm curious, what is he doing with it today?
I'm trying to,
Is he buying? I'll let him know. Yeah, call us please, Uncle, because what are you doing with this? Like, you're getting the levels on the daily that you would think you'd find a bounce, but this is starting to get pretty nasty. Either way, I'm not sure I like it for a dip buy, but the trend is your friend. Like, the whole point with this and looking at that and Rivian is when you see a trend like that, you do really, really want to find a place to join it and just stick with it until it does bend eventually. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Just one more note for you, and then we'll get back to some big cap tech names. AMC tried. I tried to dip buy off of the previous high. It's now making lower highs. It's trying to break the low and maybe fill in this gap to $8. If you look at that failed break, if it cannot get above 830, this has a chance to retrace back into 8. So the apes are not flying the way they were in the afternoon yesterday and actually running the risk of breaking to the downside. I had to go with it for the long, and that's actually one of the losing stocks today, despite the fact that it was strong early. But now, AMC is a bit of a dog.
Hello? Yeah, we covered. Yeah, okay, bye. All right, what's up, Brandon?
Randy's here. Randy has appeared. I mean, that kind of didn't work, but all right. I'm very happy, guys, to announce that coming up tomorrow on the afternoon show. So this is 1 p.m. Make sure you're with us. Our friend of the show, Peter Schiff, going to be back on with us. We're going to talk about all of this. Highest 10-year since 2001 coming up, possibly by the end of the week today. So, or tomorrow, I should say. So Peter Schiff tomorrow, 1 p.m. Make sure you're with us. Happy to have him back.
Nice.
Right. Yeah, so we just talked to our aunt there, and I told her that we were out. She was wondering about it. So there we are. We are now out of Palantir on what was just, for me, like a banger trade off this 1540 level. Came in, gave us those levels. This one again, man, like to be able to just, we actually held pretty good. Like most of these 65s right there, some outside VWAPs, some outside the 50 period, which weren't the greatest there. Those are like 15 cents. And then now we just take a big one out as we break back down below the 50 period moving average. So we are now out of Palantir. And look, we went all the way back up to the top there. So, you know, pretty good level there to get out. And you're always going to give something back when you're holding for highs when they don't hit. So there it is, man. Nice out there for that. Amazon is like, I don't know. It's trying to go, but not really. Ooh, it actually went down to 84. Oh my God, I was bidding 81s there. That's crazy. Okay. But anyways, Amazon goes all the way to the downside. I'm like, why did I not get filled down there? But okay. Let's see now if it comes back in. We'll put our bid maybe now at 85 on Amazon. So let's go do that right now and get that fill going. I'm just trying to, I feel like the market could roll over right now. So I don't know. We'll see. Obviously been wrong before on all of this. So let's wait to see what does happen right now on that play. We just got out of our Apple, by the way, which is definitely a banger trade right there, as there goes Apple to the high side. So there it is. So out. We'll take that. Perfect trade for me. Right back up to the highs of the day. Would have been obviously better to average in on that little dip, 174.75. But we will take that out right there on Apple to conclude that trade and just stack a little bit on Apple. Obviously a positive name. It's the only trade that I've made on this today. So there's Apple dropping it down. That Microsoft's going to keep on working, baby. There it is, a nice upside move. It's too bad because we did have this on that break of 317.50. Our best out is right around here, 318.30. But there it goes. It did take the 50 again, and we got out. So unfortunately, that's the story there. Amazon, I guess, man, you really want to get going back up to the upside or what? I'll put another bid just right now and get it out, and I'll cancel that 85 right now. Hopefully we can get an 02 fill. If Amazon comes back up, where are we? 30s is going to be my stop. I don't mind that stop. So we were actually getting stopped at 30 on this trade. So 25 stops at 30, like 5 cents worth of risk to give us 20. That's what we were doing. And again, when you play pullbacks like this, you're not going to get absolutely huge pullbacks. Ponzi Fonzie asked me in the chat to say happy birthday to 4L Taz. So wherever he is in here, happy birthday to you. That's awesome. Every day above ground is a great day. So shout out to that. And then I did want to give a shout out to, again, probably, you know, we did have on board, we did have Sam Bankman-Fried, who was 40 under 40 as well. But I just want to give a shout out to Adrian Zadunchuk, who was also on our show here. Forbes 30 under 30, founder of the Burb Nest, was also under on the recap show. So shout out to you, Adrian, man. Big congratulations to that. That was coming from Michael Noss today as well. So a big shout out to you, Adrian. Again, man, we're bringing the biggest and the baddest guests. Forbes 30 under 30. Do you know how hard it is to get on that list, obviously. So congratulations to you, Adrian, man. Big shout out to that. And so thank you for coming on our show. And now he's a friend of that market recap show. You can join me every single day. Big guest coming with Peter Schiff tomorrow. And maybe I'll have, you guys want Adrian back on? Put some ones in the chat and we'll see if you guys are crypto people. There it is, man, 30 under 30. So maybe one of the best crypto guys to possibly have on comes on the market recap show. So thank you, Adrian, and congratulations for that. And thank you, Michael Noss, who will be joining me tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's always good to get those different perspectives. And clearly a much, much more impressive than Mr. Bankman-Fried's 40 under 40. But I saw a couple of jokes in there. I'm not going to read them off. You guys are pretty harsh. It is what it is at the end of the day for Mr. Bankman-Fried, but that story is long gone. It's just more of like theater now. A couple of things. I got out of Intel 97s at 05s, start running that top. I'm holding on to Apple to 175.50. We are getting to 14.9, I think, in 10 handles or so. But SoFi just broke a local top. So there was a barcode here at 765. Which was also this high going into Monday, and Tuesday, and it looks like it has a chance to get back into that 790, which was a flat bottom break the other day. Actually, it was a little while ago. Big level of resistance, 790 to 8, but this is the market. It's running higher. SoFi broke that top, so I have 66 half. Got some at 66 when it broke 65. Got some at 67 as well. That's why we have 66 and a half. And rounded up. Havana Woody asking about AVTX. Sure. Don't mind that. We can talk about AVTX. Not one that I've traded. It's got decent enough volume today, but when you're looking for these types of plays, there's your daily chart for your regular penny stock, looking for that bounce play. Not a bad set of higher lows. It just failed the local high break with overhead resistance still there, and not even from that long ago. So first things first, can this even get a bit above 15 on volume? Good volume today. Can't hold a bit above 15. If it can, you've got easy room into 18, 19, and then a little bit of a gap from there. So there's a maybe on the stock. It's dipping into yesterday's high. If the volume could kind of hold up toward the end of the day, maybe there's a 15 break on it, like the second time through. But the volume's not really enough to get me that interested right now. Maybe more of like a tomorrow thing. Brendan had mentioned something about the banks. JP Morgan just went green again.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
So look at JP. JP this morning was flat bottom break, looking nasty to higher low to back green and breaking out, if anything. I don't know if this isn't a join the trend kind of thing here on JP Morgan, at least until you get to some big highs. You're consolidating here, so if it were to dip into the support, maybe you start scalping it on the dip buys, because that's a pretty strong reversal for JP. After what things looked like in the AM. Like, it was nasty this morning, and there's so many recoveries. I think you want to give them a chance. David Beach, if NVIDIA gets to 450, that's probably the only level that I would consider shorting on NVIDIA. There's just no other reason to. 450 is probably the only shot you take. I think everything other than that is just, like you're just trying to be right instead of worrying about what NVIDIA is doing. But 450 has been resistance. Like, I couldn't argue with you if you wanted to short that. And even saying that, there's a decent chance that wherever NVIDIA is at 450, it might just be safer to find some resistance on AMD because they're down 1%. Like, it's at 103 and can't seem to break it. It just feels as if that's going to be not easier, but like a safer place to go to the short side if there is a reversal coming. NVIDIA and Tesla are just really hard to fight on strong days. So I don't know if it's not better to look for a short. 103 looks okay right now if you liked it here. I want to see us get to 14.9 and then make a decision. So maybe you have a chance to get to 104 or 103 half, like somewhere in from the morning open, but not just yet.
All right. I just got a headline. Amgen, I guess, missed some sort of a trial here, so we're gonna go short on Amgen now to the downside. So we'll see if that's anything there. Just hearing it now, Amgen. We'll see about a downside move. That high right there. We can play it off the 50 period. It's Not a big move there. Okay, we did reload Amazon, but it just took out 30s. So we tried it. We got a piece out at 11. We just tried it at 20. Got a piece out at 11, and then just got it out at 30s. Like we said, if that ever does break, that was going to be something that I cannot believe that we're out of Microsoft now, by the way. Like Microsoft,
Everything is flying.
Everything's flying, so yeah, you're right. It doesn't really matter what you're in right now. Where is Microsoft?
Apple just took out, it just got to like 40s. Gotta get back on the bit of this thing. I remember yesterday where it was like when you got out of a long, like the first thing you were supposed to do was just find a place to get back into it. And otherwise, you were just sitting out a lot of the moves. So anyways, I'm out of Apple, and I'm like, where do we get back in? I think it's pretty easy to say 174.75. So like anything in front of that's pretty good, but maybe 175 on a dip, or just the next available dip. That could be an answer too. SoFi's starting to get away.
Here goes
I was trying to get more SoFi in the 60s here, and it's already, dang it. This is going to be one of those days where like it's going to be you didn't have enough long, you didn't hold long enough. I bet you Tesla's already at like $1 trillion.
Yeah, it's 8
62's already. No, 62's. It's already at the top from this morning. Tesla could be breaking the highs. Forget about 61. You got to pay up today.
Yeah. Let's just see here. Yeah, wow, AMD. I mean, the AMD level that I'm looking at, by the way, we're going to get a little bit more short here soon on DraftKings, and then that's that, man. We talked about if it breaks these highs right here, we were going to give it a little bit of chance. So that's 34.35. I mean, I was going to give this into the 40s right now, but as this market just, like, it's almost green. You know, like remember when Randy was here and he turned these bears into bulls and then the bulls back into bears? Well, since then, I think Randy's created about a 2% move.
Yeah.
You know, like he was wrong the first time by about 1% and now about
right.
by another percent right here. So I just want to thank him for doing that because now at least we know. Yo, what's up, Randy?
You're doing the world a service.
What are you researching over there? Oh, he doesn't have. Well, he says shh, but he doesn't have a mic, so I don't think anybody knows there, but he's researching something.
Why is it a secret?
Everything's a secret with this guy. You know, it's like he wants to buy oil, or does he? He wants to buy Tesla, he wants to buy Rivian, he owns a Faraday car.
The whole point is we're an open book here. Come on, Randy. What are you talking about?
I think he's looking up something about cars, obviously.
He's probably going to do some kind of a segment for us,
yes,
I think.
Yes, I feel like he's working on something.
Maybe he has something to say about GM's dumpster fire today.
That's yeah, there's those airbags, right? So those airbags missed on that. So there it is, DraftKings. We're in one last chance here for DraftKings. Let's see what happens. A couple more pennies higher than this. We are now out of DKNG. So, hey, man, we picked the wrong name, I guess. But I think we actually picked a fine name. It looks like we will wind up losing about 7 cents if DraftKings does pop up here. So let's see what happens now with DKNG, guys.
Fabian they love putting the camera on me when you're talking so I don't think I'm on camera and I'm making a facial reaction to a chart. Like, I don't think I'm on camera and I want to puke when I look at the GM chart. But you know what? It held $30.
It's going to be so much better if you actually did puke.
Well, no. Nobody wants that. I have an iron stomach. I actually, like, it's weird. I don't throw up. But sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Did the Century Club in university, and the fact that I never have issues meant that I was helping others when they did. But look at General Motors. We talked about this at that $30 level. It held. So remember I was saying be careful. Be careful. Like that $30 level is support. It bounced right off of that one. That's pretty nice.
Rendo?
Mirati Therapeutics, MRTX, big pop here up to 58, guys. Sanofi reportedly interested in a takeover bid for MRTX.
Apparently, I broke the best story of all time for everybody. Look at Amgen right now, guys. Like, wow. This name is now $1 plus. It just tanked to 262.50 there. So I don't, like I said, I'm kind of just tongue in cheek there. Like, I have no idea where this name is going or anything. But there goes Amgen. Obviously, I don't normally trade these kind of names. So I'm a little bit shocked at how aggressive this one is falling to the downside. But right there, missed FDA on that Amgen. And by the way, let's go right now if we can get some of that love back here for DKNG, as that is also falling down. So, man, oh man, do I love trading. What's up, Brandon?
Yeah, it was a lung cancer drug. I was just going to mention FDA gives thumbs down to Amgen's lung cancer treatment.
Put a fail on that drug right now, and we will put a on the actual trade. I mean, that was a good one here. By the way, I'm just getting out, so I'm now at a 30% of DraftKings as we put on shares, guys. Like, this is the thing. And remember, everybody here trades with different share sizes. So you have to be very, very careful about understanding all of that. So there it is. Huge move for me anyways. Nice move to the downside right now as we'll continue to cash that out. Do we put a bid down here at 262 and change? My stop was going to be this 50 period. Now I feel like I'm just going to stop it out at 265. So let's cancel that. I don't really want to put in a market order to get out. And so what I mean by all that is, like, a market order will, of course, market you out. And if this name continues to go higher, I don't know if I want, like, if something changes, right? Like, FDA all of a sudden denies this or whatever, not denies it, but there's something else with the case, right? That you could wind up being like, this is not the play to the downside that we thought, right? And so that's what we're gonna do, man. We're gonna try to be a little bit safe with this now, put the stop upside. So we'll see if it breaks through 265, we will take that trade. But right now, Amgen, nice move to the downside. Glad we talked about that. And there it goes on FDA saying, no thank you, vote against Amgen and their lung cancer drug. Obviously, I wish it was a long.
Yeah, you always want it to be the other way, but the trade's a trade. Like, trust me when I tell you, like, no one's ever happy for bad news, especially when it comes to a drug, which is going to be positive. But you know what these things do to the upside and the downside. You just got to be able to play it. I was on the bid to try and add more to SoFi here. It kind of came down like a couple of cents. I was kind of looking for 4 or 5. But I do want more of this in front of these 60. So maybe just step the bid up, see if we can't get something on the next dip. I think we can get to 780, 790. Apple doesn't even want to dip. Forget about it. Apple, you can't even, you're just consolidating higher and higher. You don't even want to dip. AMD, we mentioned this, we're close to 14.9. And I said, if you're going to short one of these names, maybe it's AMD. It can't seem to run away from 103 while simultaneously,
like, as if DraftKings.
This is what's happening on the NASDAQ. We keep climbing higher on the NASDAQ. It's all green on the 15-minute, and you're trying to break this 14.9 again. So if that fails, AMD seems like it's running out of steam a little bit here. This could be the one. Hello AI, Northwestern Canopy Development said in the chat. Do you mean C3 AI? I bet you even they're having a good afternoon. This is green today? Really? Okay. C3AI is actually having a very good day today. Why is this at the high of the day? Oh, because because it's down so ridiculously far that 2% is completely meaningless to the stock. That's why it looks like it's having such a good day. Look at it on the daily chart. 23.5, that's not a bad level on the daily. Look what this thing is doing this week. Oh my goodness. Who's long 23.5 or somewhere in front of it on C3AI? The undisputed champion of getting tanked in the last couple of weeks, and it wants who next?
Who next?
I love that guy.
Yeah. So right now we have
Who next?
we got I consider it a little bit of bad luck, but we did get out a half, and then DraftKings for some reason decided to rip right back up like uncontrollably there. So I'll go back into it just because of that rip up right there on DraftKings. Like, we just got stopped out right there, literally at our level, and then it dropped right back into 35 again, or back into 37 again, sorry. So we'll try it. I feel like that might have just been a market order there. I don't know, but if we break above 45, we're out. So there's DraftKings. We will flush ourselves down the toilet. Thought we had a good winner there. Did not. Took some profit there. Took some profit again. And there it is right now, DKNG. Is there any size at 50? No. I was going to go maybe short again against that 50. But, I mean, in and in and in. I like the way it tanked there. Like, it tanked basically for no reason, but it also ripped for no reason right there. So, okay, we'll hold out on that one. And for right now, not much action happening on DKNG other than it looks like it wants to get back to the positive side here on the day, as the NASDAQ also looks like it just stopped at 14,900. This is why I'm trying to play shorts right now.
The ES2, by the way, should have said this.
Yeah, what is the ES at?
Oh, look, we always talk about the NASDAQ because we're typically looking at a lot of big cap tech names when you're trading, especially the reversals. But look at the ES, 4,300 on the minis here. obvious resistance. So it's like once, yesterday, overnight, this morning, now 4,300. So if you're wondering why look for shorts at tops into a market like this, it's because you're at a monster level and we might pull back. So, if we are pulling back in JPM, I still kind of like this upward trend. Maybe this move in off these highs gets JPM down into this 142 quarter support. But if it does, I don't mind jumping into that bid if we get a nice little curl there. But you know what time it is. Time to figure out what to do with the overall market and with these bond yields, which are just going haywire. They're not supposed to be this volatile, Frank. Tell us what's up.
Yeah, hopefully he can lend a little bit of a hand here, because it's been a very, very strange week. Frank Caberna back with us for a tee-up of what is to come tomorrow, and maybe a little bit of a look back as well, Frank, at what happened not only today with this payrolls number that came out, but also the jobless claims is what I'm trying to say. And then also yesterday, we've had a ton of employment data specifically all week long that has been kind of all over the place. There's really been no direction as far as what we're used to seeing going into an NFP print to come tomorrow. So give us your take here, not only on, continuing claims higher than expected, initial jobless claims lower than expected. What do we make of all of this?
Yeah, it definitely feels like we're being whipsawed back and forth a little bit, and market obviously doing that as well. Thankfully, tomorrow's number, non-farm, is the big employment number. These are all, small to mid-tier measures that are getting ready for the headliner, so to speak. And we're expecting 170,000. And though it might have been a rough week here, Brendan, in terms of, market looking like it's in crash mode 1 minute, and now next minute, yesterday and today, looking a little bit stronger than we had thought on Monday and Tuesday. In my mind, I'm happy to see the table relatively clear of any prior bias going into this number, because if you had asked me on Tuesday after the JOLTS number, what do you expect over under 170? I would have said, oh, well, it's got to be over at this point, right? Because that JOLTS number blew out expectations. And now we have today's employment data coming in a little bit under, and interest rates moving lower off of that, and stocks feeling a little bit more confident off of that. And now you're right back at, in my mind, the expectation of 170,000. Last month, we saw a slight over on that 170,000. And it wasn't too much to write home about, but I do want to rope in the action over the course of the last month since that past NFP until now. We've gotten very strong interest rates since September 1. 10 years are up almost 50 basis points. The stock market's down 6%. And so you have right now, Brendan, in my mind, one of the clearest relationships that we've had over the course of the last several months. The global economic slowdown making things a little bit murkier between this employment data, what we might expect from yields and what we might expect from those yields onto stocks, which is a hotter than expected number translating to yields up, and stocks not digging that of late. Over the course of the last month, you see, up 50 basis points in that 10-year yield. Right now, surfing around 470, 475, off a little bit here today in that yield, and stocks taking that in kind over the course of the last 24 hours, bouncing back off of their lows as rates move off of their highs. So if anything, I'm going into this number with a relatively clear mind. The expectation's 170. If it comes in, closer to 200, then you might see this interest rate market pick up and take another shot at those highs. And you might see stocks take another shot at the last week's lows. On the flip side, if it does come in under, closer to 150, maybe yields settle back into where they've been trading over the course of the last couple of months, closer to 450 basis points, and stocks take a little confidence going into the weekend. So some whipsawing back and forth this week, but we're entering tomorrow morning's non-farm with a relatively clear mind as you see, the reaction since last non-farm.
Yeah, the overall number, as we saw last time, a bit of a non-event. If we get, a slight uptick, slight downtick, going to be what it's going to be. It's not going to be as dramatic as we saw back on Tuesday, as you mentioned, with that JOLTS number that was, it could, but it was 1 million almost to the upside, 1 million more than expected to the upside. I want to get your thoughts here on, if we dig into this a little bit and talk a little bit about, what has been the overall problem in the economy in general, in that, the wage growth that we've seen has been, a bigger part of the inflation story, and the unemployment rate has been a bigger part of the overall inflation story. What can we expect on those two fronts?
Yeah, I think you'll see a similar type reaction here, which will be that wage growth, if it's over expectation or the unemployment rate is under expectation, then again, it's always depending on the market's environment. Those things might seem good for the broad economy, but everything for the moment being translated in terms of inflation and where that might move U.S. interest rates. And yes, to your point, I went back and looked at the day of the last non-farm, and it was a slight over, not a really big event, but it did kind of set the course for, between then and now, what has come to the forefront as the primary fear, which is higher interest rates breaking into a new range, and the stock market not digesting that so much. And so it's going to be really interesting to see that number, if we're still on this tip of higher inflation, or I really think that a lower number in terms of wage growth or the non-farm payrolls in general could do a lot to alleviate the unknowns around interest rates, because yes, we've broken into this new territory, highest yields since 2007 across the board. For a time there, it was just, the T-bills, the 1 month to 1 year range. And everybody thought that interest rates were going to come back down in 2024 or at least 2025. And you see here those red and green lines climbing up to their highs now. That's the 10-year and 30-year getting to their highs. And so if this non-farm number can come in lower, wage growth settles down, it might set the course for lower inflation to come throughout the coming measures and a less hawkish Fed at the next meeting, which could set the course for a bounce back here in stocks. And so a lot of different things at play. What we have seen over the course of the last month is the stock market does not like more unknowns around interest rates or more potential for higher ranges in interest rates. Totally comfortable with rates closer to 4.5%, potentially on the downslope. But if non-farm can continue to beat expectations, come in closer to 200K and beyond, then I think you're going to see this interest rate story get even more potentially interesting than it is now, which is, expectations from, I was taking a look at the futures options for the 10-year and calculating the chances of other major levels in that 10-year yield, which is really the benchmark. Right now, we're getting close to 5%. The stock market really freaked out when we eclipsed 4.5% over the course of the last couple of weeks here, Brendan. And right now, futures options traders looking at about a 31% chance that we're above 5% by the end of the year. And I know these are low odds, relatively speaking, but 13% that they get above 5.5% by the end of the year, it's already October, and 7% chance of eclipsing 6%. And I think if those probabilities build in, Brendan, or we get closer to 5% after this non-farm payrolls tomorrow, you might see a tick lower in the stock market every step of the way. Because like I say, it's not necessarily the stock market doesn't like high rates. It doesn't like interest rate environments that are unknown or it didn't factor in. And so if we climb to 5% right now, a 31% chance the market states, I worry what that could mean for the stock market. And this NFP will let us know either those odds will increase or decrease following tomorrow's number.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit, a couple things. We talked a little bit last time about the normalization of the yield curve overall, getting back in the right direction, and how that in the past has negatively impacted stocks. Frank crushing the chart game again. I want to go back to that interest rate chart just really quick and highlight the simple fact of it's not necessarily where we're at in the, call it 4 to 6 range, but the pace at which we have got here that has been the bigger problem for markets. And if you go back to the last, I guess that was 2003, 2004, when we had that last very, very sharp increase, it was also followed then by a very, very sharp unwind and a decrease as the market did the same thing and moved sharply to the downside. So are we, getting to a point where that's going to be the end result? Possibly, but it remains to be seen. 5% is not necessarily high, but I went back just for fun. I was doing some other research during the lunch hour there and saw that the last time the 10-year was at 5% was 2001. So that's kind of, the rarefied air we're getting to.
Yeah, and again, totally agree with you that it's not necessarily that the market doesn't like 4% or 5%, or it is getting into unknown territory that it doesn't like, because for the last year and a half, it was this idea of, yes, inflation is something to worry about. Yes, the U.S. economy is moving a little bit too quickly, and all these different metrics pointing towards the fact that short-term rates needed to rise. Rates needed to rise in the short term because this was a short-term problem. And every step higher in that 10-year and 30-year, it's, got pros and cons to it, great for savers and so many other things. But every step higher is in its own way a fear gauge of sorts that's letting the stock market know, hey, these interest rates and this inflationary problem and everything that is causing the central bank to be more contractionary with its actions might not be just a year. It might not be just 2 years. It's really spreading out to, this might be, a 5, 10, multi-year, multi-decade potentially problem here. And so we'll see what this number, again, in that grand scheme of things, this number on Friday seems like a small drop in the bucket. But what we've seen over the course of the last month is the over-under on these non-farm payroll numbers or inflation numbers can kind of set the course for how the market is feeling in weeks after that. And obviously it sets the course for what central bankers will do at their next big meeting. So yeah, we're looking at that 170. Get the over on that, and you might see some more turmoil. But if you get any under on that number or wage growth, anything that points towards inflation moving lower, interest rates might take a break and might not look at that 5% as closely as they are now.
And get set, friends, because the next reading on CPI and inflation is just around the corner next week as well. So more to come. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see what this number brings tomorrow, obviously. We'll touch on it, I'm sure, and more to come on Tuesday when we speak next. Frank Caberna, Director of Strategy over at IG.com in Chicago. Great to see you.
Thanks, Brennan.
Thanks as always, Frank. Although we didn't get the Frank bounce in the market this time.
A little bit.
Well, okay, well, probably because we're already at the top here.
It did take out tops, or went to it.
We touched the high again on the NASDAQ and the ES, 14.9 on the NASDAQ, 43 on the ES, tagged it again. I was asked in the chat, someone was like, any play for Roblox 30? I wasn't even looking at Roblox. And then I pulled it up. I was like, okay, double top, it's at the highs. Like, let's zoom out a little bit. Like, what are we doing on the daily chart? Trying to close above the 50 period, at resistance since the flush on August. I started like weaving does it make sense that there's going to be a lot of buyers eager to buy the top at a level like this going into the number? I don't necessarily think so. So risk, and again, just risk to reward. I mean, 30 is an obvious psychological level, so I said I'm jumping into this. And every now and then, that's what happens. I can be looking for something at a top, it's not even in my frame of reference. I wasn't thinking about Roblox at the time. I was looking for something to short off of a high. when the futures got to this level, and then you zoom out, and this one made sense to me. So whether it wins or not, I like the setup, and if I lose on it, that's on me. But I liked it here, so I'm going to get some bids down in front of 2980. If this is a local high, I do like this level. We'll see what happens. I mean, Rippin' Ron Pan just said, Rivian really giving it up. Is Rivian still going down? I actually thought this just caught, okay, yeah, oh my goodness,
As if
Rivian.
that's the guy's name. Rippin' what? Rippin'
It was Rippin'
Ron Pan. What's up, Rippin'?
Rippin' Ron Pan. Love it. Love the creative
they did break
names.
the lows, apparently.
Unbelievable. I actually thought this had caught a bid.
Down.
This
Down.
is still falling.
Let's go.
Unbelievable flush job for Rivian. How are you not just shorting every single pop on this thing? Like, what is this stock? Mullen? It's not Mullen. It's
We
not.
try to say about Mullen.
Well, I mean, what haven't we said about Mullen?
I guess that's true.
It's not Smile Direct Club. There you go.
Right.
We can pick on Smile Direct Club because it's gone now. So
Yeah,
it's,
good point.
That's fair. Mullen's still around, so we don't.
Is it definitely
Can't
not
pick on that. We can pick on Smile
Smile
Direct.
Direct.
That's okay. Maybe Rite Aid's next too for that one. But wow, Rivian fresh lows. What do you do here? I said if it got down to the 200 period moving average, not going to happen today. Maybe you check that out tomorrow. It's about 18 and a quarter. Actually, no, never mind that. It's a little bit, yeah, just underneath 18 and a quarter. Maybe you can bounce off that level. That is nasty. What a nasty, nasty move that's been. I was thinking maybe Apple could give a dip and there'd be a potential dip buy off these levels. Still looking to see if I can pick it up just underneath that 175. I thought JPM was interesting. The futures didn't do anything while Frank was on. I thought JPM pulls back in here. Maybe you grab 142 change, something along those lines. Just nothing really doing on that one as well. So a bit of a disappointment in terms of looking for the continuation plays to the upside. We're just hanging out at these tops, which does lend itself to looking for some reversals. That's why I jumped into that Roblox trade. Comp SRX is trimming a Netflix short.
Okay, okay.
What did Netflix do?
You know what you got against Netflix, dog?
Netflix broke out nicely. But yeah, you shorted it off of yesterday. I'm guessing, just a guess, shorting it off of yesterday's lows. Support turned into resistance. So you got that top there at 374. Trim it after it goes $1.
Congratulations!
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I like it. Find a level. Futures get to the top. Short it. Take your profit. Don't necessarily expect that the market's going to like crap all over itself.
Yes, sir.
I mean, if it did, that wouldn't be the end of the world.
Horrible.
Wouldn't be terrible if it happened. I mean, it's hard to imagine that we're not going to have some kind of a pullback going into tomorrow off these highs. So, you know, that's what I'm looking for at this point. AMD was the other one we liked, so I'm just going to go over to AMD right now. It's still, AMD's just barcoding off this top. I could just sit in it off of 103.30. I've been waiting for it to break 103 instead. Maybe that's not the right approach. Maybe the approach is to be in it and risking 10 cents, and then we are out in front of it in case we do get that flush.
All right, was just, I mean, got lucky, didn't get lucky, I don't know. I mean, it's still not going to be happy with DraftKings because I thought it would have gone down here. So the fact that now we're in the money 20 cents, it's fine. And we do have good shares, but, you know, I'm getting them out. So if it falls down, we don't have as many as we did back before it was in front of 50. So DraftKings is falling down now. And again, it's just, the reason why we just kept on going back to the well is it was a red name. I think, I mean, I know Frank just sort of laid everything out for us. I wonder about that number tomorrow and just to see what it does to the market. And I was just thinking, like, it's a nice rally. This is why I'm short Microsoft, and I'm about to get more short, which could be wrong. We've lost the last couple trades on Microsoft despite going long early, but just not hold. Well, we did hold and we did pretty good on it. But I just look at where this market is right now. That's the high right there, right? Should we be there? Like, it's just such an important number tomorrow. And I just think that, like, traders may want to de-risk into that number. So I was thinking maybe downside. But there's two sides of the coin, right? As we just heard.
It's true.
The number could go the other way, like, could be bad. And then the market, well, again, bad is good, good is bad type of thing. And then the next thing you know, the market is infinitely higher. We take out 15,000, and then you could get back to that 15.6, right? I don't know. Tomorrow's not going to be a 700-point NASDAQ day, but I guess anything's possible. But the thing is like, for me, heading into a major number, I think about de-risking. So that's why I'm very, very, like, looking short. Like, so we went short there on Microsoft just as we were with Frank there. That went down. We were short at O's. That's 319. Actually, no, that was not. That was 318.85. Get them out there, 55s, 58s, and then got blown out of the rest of them. And this is why I'm saying it's not that bad, because we didn't really get, I mean, that was 20 cents, 20 cent win, 20 cents out. And then we just took a fill right there at 70 and looking to take a little bit more against that top of 319.20 or so. So if you do see a short come in for me, hopefully it will be Microsoft in and around just a little bit over 319, and that'll be that trade. Like I said, we're already out of Apple right here at this price. It did go up into the 40s. So I'm looking to get short here. So that makes me think about the triple Qs, because yesterday we shorted it and we did pretty good. And today triple Qs is, so my number one stock is Palantir, followed by triple Qs is number 2. And then we have Amgen, of course, and then Apple. So, you know, some damage being done over there. You know, short this against 50, it's not horrible. You're taking the 50 period now, making a move back down to the downside. If we zoom this back, all you're really doing is hoping that the market turns over, because you're not really at anything right now. That's 359.25. We already are short Microsoft, DraftKings, and Amgen. Not that Amgen would really matter in this situation. But yeah, I could see us going short here against this level, 359.30. Let's try a short here on the triple Qs. I mean, I'm looking at Rivian too, man, 1865. That's pretty low right now for those guys. All right, there it is. We just punched short on the Qs. 08s right now. You can see we're in that trade. So here we go, man. Let's trade this together. We are now short on the TQQs, which is the NASDAQ, and we're going to try to give it up. Let's just give it to the day's high right there. So 67s. All right, well, we just punched short and it's working. So let's see.
Yeah, I'm into AMD, but I'm not going to fight that Roblox. Like I said, you take your shot at it, nice consolidation, but once it breaks, don't really want to fight it above 30. I want it failing under 30. If you're not failing under that 30 level, that's the resistance level we liked. The first idea that I was looking for, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, but isn't AMD making a bull flag? Sure it is. And it can resolve itself in either direction here, but the market's at resistance. It's still technically a relatively weak name in some ways. You're already actually pulling back a couple of dollars on NVIDIA, but if it cannot break this high, and this is now 103, like 33, I want to call it. It's not the high of the day. It's 103.33 here. The high of the day was actually at 9:30, and that was 103.74. But the local high is what I'm concerned with. So if you ever hear me say local high, just kind of, if I'm on a 3-minute chart, just look at the high in the last little bit. That's what I mean by that. I think it's kind of obvious, but we don't always say the obvious. So I'm short on AMD, got out of Roblox. That looks like it might be a little bit independently strong. I just see us at this level, and if this is going to break down, I might be adding to this underneath that 103 level as well. I don't mind jumping back into Roblox, but it has to be, you know, sort of underneath that $30 level. If it's over that, do not want to fight it. I'm still in that VinFast. Don't worry about that. I'm not really expecting getting any entries. I might just take an exit on VinFast at the end of the day. We have 50 minutes to go. There is plenty of time for this retracement. If the market's going to pull in a little bit, there's plenty of time for it to happen. Remember JP Morgan? This is starting to dip in. Now, this is one where I think I like it off of 142.25, where it broke out. Because it broke out the top, held a higher low. If it can make a bid there, that's one that I don't mind going for the dip buy. It also closed at that price. So this is that would be it holding green down at that 142.25 on JPM.
All right. Yeah, what's up, Monty? Don't build an algo to copy my trades. What's up, Steve J? What's up, everybody, man? I mean, thank you so much for recognizing this. But I mean, I just got out of 40%. So I took some out there at 90, some out there at 670, 70 flat. Now let's wait to see what happens here with a trade that I like, obviously. So we're going to short the Qs right now. And now that we can do this, I'm not going to give it up to day's high. I'm going to give it up to the 20-period moving average. 359.25. So as this starts to come in, now we'll just hold this. Let's see if it rolls over the rest of the day. See if we can have a banger trade on right now for us on the triple Qs. No more bids. And in fact, Microsoft also starting to go to the downside right now. But we just got a fill on Microsoft, so that's good as well. But I mean, like, the market's still up, and we are fighting the trend by going short, I feel like. Anyways,
Technically down, but...
No, sorry. The market's still up here. I still think we can get to VWAP, which is what I'm looking for on these trades. So like if we're gonna look at the triple Qs, let's do that real quick and just see if we're trying to get to VWAP. I mean, that is $1. Like, let's just take 258. Like, if we can get 258, that would be absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to put a 258 bid. Like, can't believe that that's actually a possibility if it gets down there. Really wild, man. I mean, a $360 name. It's really shows you, like, you can get monster moves on this, but you can also get, you know, stuff handed to you as well. So you got to be very, very careful with the trades here. But that is 359.23. I feel like I'll get stopped out too early if that happens, and we should probably just take all the profit right now. But honestly, let's see if we're right. Let's just give this a chance, see if we're right about the rollover right now. I actually don't even have a stop in, so let's put it in right now. 359.30s, I guess. We'll put that in for about, how many shares do I have left? Okay, let's go 50% out there if it does take this level right there. So I put it in at 30. The level's actually 20. So we'll wait to see if we get a little bit of action on that one. Microsoft downside, and then DraftKings, guys, that kept going down there. So we just got some 34 fills, so that's pretty good. Again, majority of these fills out right around here, 40s. Then we got some 35s, 36s, and now some 34s. Again, if the market falls down, why not give us a VWAP trade on this? So that's what I'm looking for. We'll see if it can hit right now. So far, so good though on some of these shorts, but we need more work. So if this can get to the downside, let's do it. I'm expecting a VWAP retracement, not expecting it, but that's what we're waiting for. Again, so far, so good here on some of these shorts. Too bad about JP Morgan. I feel like we could have got long that one earlier.
Yeah, it was quite the turnaround. Didn't really notice it until a little bit late. There was a question about MRTX. These are the guys that Sanofi was exploring buying. Obviously, there's, I don't know if there's truth to the rumor or like what the details would be, but certainly the market's at least expecting that there's some juice to this. Sanofi's not like some small player, but halted up, holding higher lows. When you have, just allow the levels to make themselves, right? Like 53.5, you've already seen. 55, it just locally broke out, and it's continuing to trend higher on the daily chart. Sometimes these matter, sometimes they don't. When you zoom out, what do you see at 56? Like, it just reclaimed this level at 56, which is a monster on the daily. Support to resistance to now breaking out. The problem with levels when it comes to a potential deal is unless you have some idea at what they're going to be playing at or what they're going to pay, it's just all over the place. While it's speculation, like think about like WWE when it was a rumor and Man U when there was rumors going around. At some point, the levels didn't matter, and like it was just flying around. Like every single negative, oh, we're not interested, or we're not really exploring opportunities, or yada, yada, yada. You could have dollar moves here or there. So just keep your ear to the ground. The levels are obvious. 56 is a huge one on the daily. It just reclaimed it now. I don't know if it can get to the high of the day. I'm not going to be trading it this late in the session. I never want to be playing around with something that has buyout rumors late in the day. I learned my lesson from trading in Spirit Airlines when that happened. I was in a good trade, and then they halted the stock with 20 minutes to go and had to hold it overnight, and then took an L on that. We're day trading, but sometimes the stock halted. You can't get out till the next day. It sucked. So I'm going to stay away from it myself, but you wanted the levels. I think it's at a pretty decent one right now if you were inclined and wanted to trade it. Roblox might retake that 30. I would get back into it. AMD still chilling out. Rivian, oh, for the love of...
Is it still going?
It's still going down. Short.
Wow, 50s, okay.
1850. So about the 200 period...
for shorts or
yeah,
no?
it's just free shorts.
Okay, good.
It's at the 200 period moving average in like 25 cents. So that's what, like 5 minutes?
Jeez. That really,
wow,
really got hit
what the?
Today. Oh man, I was looking long, and you guys know that, and unfortunately, oh, by the way, right now, let's go.
Oh my God.
I know we're on Neil, but if you come over here, we'll quickly look at the trip
They
Qs
always do
right now, because guess what, man? We got
I'm reloaded!
right there. Reloaded on the 50 period, bang, right, another 40 cents right there. So reloaded at 13s, out at 85s or 87s, I don't know. So 13,
It was a
yeah, it's
flat
only
bottom
40 cents. So nice move to the downside right there on the trip Qs. Right now, I'm actually waiting for a 40 print right down into here. So there's the reload. And again, man, like, let's go props it up. Hopefully that can continue. Let's see if we get some downside moves right now. Okay, softy, it's at the 50 period. Do we want to take some out? Do we? Maybe we could. I mean, we're already short the market right now. So taking some out on softy might not be a horrible idea, just in case there is, you know, some kind of a bounce back. We don't want to lose. There it is. Okay, we'll take it right now. So that's going to be pretty good as well, as we'll go. Oh my God. And it's just about taking some profit now. So let's just see. That's at the 50 period. Of course, Microsoft right there. It's not like it's a monster trade, but we just got out at 75. So that's 30 cents, or sorry, 72. That's 20 cents. That's where it is right now. And hopefully, again, we just continue to march lower, and that would be pretty good. Uber made a nice move up as well, actually, during that move. Did Uber go green there? No, almost. So I was looking at that as a possible short as well. I just don't want to go too counter. And the reason why I was looking for a short, it made its way all the way back into the pre-market levels. So this pre-market bottom is like that bottom break. Generally, when you see that, if you can get back up to it, you know, people that have either been holding on or want more of this, you know, we'll look to maybe short again right there at these pre-market lows. So Uber's interesting. If you take the short now, though, you pretty much got to hold it to 45. So I'm already short the market, and we've already talked about what I'm trying to do right now. So hopefully it will come in at some point, and we'll be able to have a little bit of a trade there if it gets up to 45. But I'm gonna hold off on that one. And again, like, don't want to count the chickens before they hatch on this move. And that's why I think, like we've already said, when you're playing counter trend, a lot of these names, it's better to get, like, normally I get it there and get it out at the 50 period, but right now it just seems to be bottom ticking 75. Hopefully a break gets us into these 50s, and then we'll be able to get filled at this level here, which we're bidding right now 40. So tonight we have Levi Strauss coming through and I'm just going to guess this name's getting murdered because every consumer discretionary seems to be going that way right now. They're going to be an earnings play into the close today as well. So yeah, Levi's coming through. Not a great IPO. I have no idea where their IPO price is. I can just imagine.
Hard to like their chances
that it's
with
down.
What's happening today.
You know what? Actually, I'm not sure. I thought it was a $20 or so IPO. I'll get this for you on the after show, but there it is, Levi. Huge move to the downside and hovering around the bottom, so they are reporting tonight. So we'll have it for you.
So yeah,
Let's go Qs.
This is what just happened in Roblox. There's that. You know what level 2 I pulled up when I got away from Roblox? I pulled up the Rivian. I'm like, how do we get into a Rivian short? Nah, just stick with Roblox next time. But if there is a range, 1-to-1 on AMD was the 103 level, so I did take some out. I'm going to try and rinse and repeat this one. If it breaks outside of the range, then we hold for underneath. But inside there, it's just a scalp in there. Rivian is really, someone said it's a flat bottom break, but it's SSR, so it's not a guarantee that you would have had that 1880 break. What you really just have to do is just sit on the offer and try to get filled. When it was at 1850, I tried to sit at 48 on that consolidation, just never got it. You can't hit the bid, you're looking for an uptick. What you need is the next time it does any kind of a green, like, just try to take it and just get in and see where you can get in, maybe even have a tight stop with it. But when it's 22%, it's SSR, and it is not the easiest thing. At an obvious level, everyone's trying to get short. It's basically the thing that's happening. And so you can't always catch a fill. The uptick rule, it's frustrating, but hey, it is what it is, right? Like, it exists, and you have to trade by the rules. So, you know, the uptick rule is frustrating in a lot of ways because it seems like it's really easy for that short, but trust me, it's not as easy as it seems.
So right now it's 323. Oh, I was going to say we don't have the number yet, but that's because it's not out yet. So we're going to wait for that said number to come through very, very soon for everybody, and we will have it. And what I'm talking about, of course, is the imbalances. So they'll hit, and then we'll see if there's a nice downside move coming or not for us right now. And that just led me to think about, anyways, DraftKings. I'm sitting at 41 to get a little bit more out. It is kind of now, you know, it made that flush, and again, kind of, okay, well, there it goes. We've somehow got hit at 41 there as it comes right back up. The liquidity is not great on this name. I've sat here bidding 42, and like, you don't get filled unless it runs right through you. It doesn't even matter the gateway. So just if you guys are trading with Day Trade the World, I'm just using paid gateways because it doesn't matter. You can sit there and hold it up with a BYX or hold it up with an Edge A. Those are inverted. So that's just in case you guys are trading there. You could just sit and bid whatever you want. You can see like there's an Edge X fill for 42 shares. Like just so random right now on DraftKings. So I am bidding to try to get out of everything. I mean, not everything, but a majority there. If we can get anything down here in the mid 30s, I think that that's something reasonable and responsible. So let's look to take that out if and when we get the opportunity to do that. The triple Qs, again, maybe, just maybe we're getting greedy. So we'll put a bid there at 61. We'll cancel our 41s and see if we can have some more luck and get something out right now at these low 60s. Of course, just bouncing off me. What else is new? So we'll see if we can get a fill down there, and there it goes. And again, if you are trading the triple Qs, it's a very mechanical instrument. It doesn't matter, again, what gateway you're on, nor should it matter about any key levels or anything like that. You want to compare it with the NASDAQ, right? So this is just an index. It is the NASDAQ 100. And it looks like that might have been a good out, as now the market's trying to get back up upside right now. So,
yeah, just to be clear, because like you'll trade that, but you have like the NASDAQ futures up, and you can just look at the levels on one to trade.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Like that's why when I looked at VWAP. But honestly, they're the exact same.
Because it is the same thing. But
Yeah,
if you sit there staring at the NQ futures all day, like it's going to be different prices from the Qs, but you just choose to trade one or the other. I'm the same way. When I've ever traded in the past, it's just if you're used to trading equity, it seems it's psychologically easier to trade the Qs or the SPY than it is to trade the futures because you're watching gateways and everything is normal. I did get the dip buy on Apple. Okay, just gonna come to Apple. Remember we said we're gonna buy the dip into here on Apple? Well, that pullback gave the dip. It got back above 175 at 1-to-1, took some out. High of day, we'll take it all out. High of the day is 175.45, so okay, in front of the high of the day. If it gets into the 30s, I want out in front of that. For a brief second, AMD on that dip, and it did happen, you broke that 103 bottom, the consolidation looked like it was gonna flush, had my bid ready to go, and now we're right back above. I will reload this off the high of the day. So I'm scalping AMD off the highs, relatively weak. Apple, I think, is relatively strong. That's why I like to buy the dip. But at 3:30, we get that early look on the imbalances. Whatever happens, we trend in one direction, you wanna hold that direction, cover the other. Brendo, what do you got, bud?
ML, it's a biotech. SGML, there's a buyout rumor being floated around. Just be aware of that. I was reading this note on Tesla as well. There's no reaction whatsoever. This came out a little bit earlier, but a few people doubling down on this. Apparently, they're looking into making their New Mexico plant even bigger than the original plan, getting some environmental surveys and certificates passed. Again, Tesla looking to double up on their New Mexico plant.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations to anybody that lives in New Mexico. It sounds like you're going to be getting some more employment opportunities right there. All right, so congratulations Tesla shareholders, because today anything from the bottom has been fantastic there for Tesla, as it is a little stronger than the market, but it's really just reacting to what's been going on here. Look at that quick move off the open, man. It happens every day. Like, you just got to pick the right way. And then there's the flush down. Little bit of a bounce off, obviously, at 257, that day's low. And then there's 262. And again, look at the levels. Right back into the pre-market high is where it stops. So I feel like I got to add a little bit more to the repertoire as far as like these pre-market levels, because there it is right there. Forget about, I mean, the day's high would have made you nervous about taking that for sure. But another level that holds there for Tesla. Looks like that story is a little bit of a nothing burger. I thought maybe it might have sparked a little bit, a little bit of a buy there, but not really. Tesla pulls all the way back to the 200 period. Like as if Tesla can drop $2 and I can't get that on Softy or anything like that. Let's go Softy. Come on, man. Like Tesla's at its 200 period. Softy should try. I wish. Should try to get there. Come on, Softy. Hopefully I can do that, but it is a nice move down for Tesla. We're waiting for the same thing here with Microsoft. I actually just put a bid, just so everybody knows, right where we ticked it down there, 35. I put a bid right there. So it's because we'd already been there before, right there. So that's what I did it, but it looks like we're going upside right now, guys. So that was a good out on the Qs, it appears. We have less than half of our position on this right now. We've adjusted our out to 31s, but now you see that. Now that's 21s. So I'm going to get it out at 21, 358.21. If we go back up to the upside and take out that 50-period moving average, then we will just get out of that. So that's, I'm going to readjust it, but that's the trade now for the Qs. And we'll wait. I think something stuck in the throat there. We'll wait. Oh, here we go. Got the water back here. I was getting this ready for the after show. We'll wait though until we get confirmation about this number at 3:30. But what I was getting at was yesterday, remember? Thanks, Fabian. Yesterday was a small buy or small sell, and then it turned out to be billions the other way.
Yeah, that was a big.
So be careful with your trades.
I cannot believe Rivian is. I punched out of VFS. It kind of trailed almost back to my entry price, and it wasn't really moving all that much. I had it from this morning, so I am out of that one, but nothing was happening there. You're now at the 200 period moving average on the daily, so you got to look at the daily to know that this is even anything on Rivian. Were it to make a bounce here, this is like the only place underneath that where I think you'd even look for a long. Reversed into Apple, sorry, not reversed, bought the dip into Apple, but in that little bounce in the market, what's that going to mean for AMD inside of the range? It's back to the top of the range. Shorted it, reloaded it again. If it takes out the top, I think it's an easy out. Still want this to be breaking 103. It's made sense to get out some shares in front of 103 every single time. Whoops, want that. I want to get out at the same price. There we go. Let me get back in. I want to take the third out there. There we go, down into 103. But if you look at what just happened on NVIDIA, and this is maybe, if there's cause for concern on AMD, it would be that NVIDIA had pulled back $3, just looked right into the face of that kind of pivot point at 446, and is ramping back up to the top. And it's got $1 still to go to the top, whereas AMD is like pennies away from its high. So there's no averaging above that top on AMD. There's no holding it past that top, like none of that fanciness, because if you go this other dollar and the futures get back toward the high, which they're making lower highs, so lower highs in NVIDIA, lower highs on the futures, still at the high on AMD. That's not usually what I want, but it hasn't broken the top yet. So I'm going to adhere to the stop, but this would not be a situation to give it past that level. Sometimes you give it a few pennies. Sometimes you're willing to take fills over resistance. I'm saying this is not one of those times. If it breaks, I think you just get out. It's still holding that high pretty well. Apple, we'll see if we do get to this top. If we do, I'm just getting out. I think you play the range. This late in the day, we play the range. We are day trading. We got to be flat by the end of the day. There's no holding this in case you rally past 4 o'clock. So you take your profit where it does run. I just can't get over this Rivian. Okay, it's starting to make a bit of a bounce. It's crazy to even want to go long here. It's the 200 period on the daily, down 23%. Yeah, I couldn't live with myself if I didn't try. So the bottom is 18.18. I should be long in the 20s, not the 30s, though. That's the thing. If it's a weak name, the long should have been in the 20s. Hesitation because it's so bloody weak. Now I don't want to get a bad price. But Rivian, it's been an absolute dumpster fire, man. Absolute dumpster fire.
Okay, we are almost out. Well, Rivian, yeah. We should just punch short when
Open? At the open?
At the open. And when it was, what was it, Rip and Pan or something there on the chat, was like, oh my God, check out Rivian. And we were like, oh my God. And now it's, oh
that
my
was
God,
60 cents.
straight to the downside. All right, we are about to get stopped out right now, but it's a self-stop out. There's not liquidation. We are going to stop ourselves out if this takes 21. We just talked about that. It went up as high as 19s, 18s. So pretty lucky not to get stopped out. But like if this was like a normal stock, it'd be like, oh my God, we're retracing now 20 cents, get out. But no, we're going to wait. This is, of course, a very violent name. There's an 84 there on the cues. Feel like we could probably do good to take that out right now. Brendo, did he give us that number? Not yet.
Not yet.
We'll wait for those imbalances coming in a minute. So we punched more out on the 50 period. So we're very, very light now on DraftKings as it's coming back up. What's up, Comp SRX1? He's saying
early
Sean,
look.
...
I got it. Early look is 208 to the buy side. 208 million to the buy side is the early look on the imbalances. If you look at some individual names in here, and of course, yes, Rivian's now. I just said don't chase it into the 30s, wait for 20s, and now it's at 40. But the early look on the imbalances, and kind of confirms that. All the biggest names out there on the New York names, anyways. Pfizer, $1 million, that's nothing. Are we surprised that that's a sell? Coke for 800,000. I'm not surprised the way it's trading today. Nothing really. BAC, small sell for a $30 stock, or it's probably not 30 anymore. Intel, very small. There's no big imbalances yet, so we'll see what happens at 350 when these come out in earnest. And when you get the real numbers, we'll see what that is. So if we're getting a bit of a dip, I am waiting for a better price. Did not get that bounce off the 200 period moving average. If that was the only move, for Rivian off the 200-period moving average, and you got 20 cents, that tells you all you need to know about how bad it is for that stock today. Because that's a monster level. If that's all it can bounce, yikes. I'm still going to try that dip into today's low. If we get stopped out, at least it was at the level I wanted. That's all I'll say. It is obviously a counter trend trade. There's no question about that. So it's trying to dip. I'm on the bid. Let's see if we get it.
I mean, I'm very like, we're going to talk about this on the recap show. I mean, I kind of just feel that I cannot believe that we're actually up, and we're up, you know, on Rivian today. And we just, all we did was went long, and we were able to buy the dips. And I think every time it was this 21 period right now. So the fact that we just tried to take it and then went back underneath it, you know, I would. Anyways, you're in it. I know what you're doing, and you've explained it quite well. So that's all good. All right, what we're just doing right now is this. Right now, we'll put a little small piece in our pocket. So let's not again think that we're going absolutely haywire right now with this trade. But we'll try. Qs, we just took it out because it went back into the 80s. We couldn't 85 or 87 there. So that was another fill. We are a little, you know, let's admit it, we are a little nervous about these positions. We are also, and I talked about why I like the short. I just think that it's risk on right now today, obviously with this bump up. And I think it should be risk off heading into tomorrow's number. So if Microsoft can come back in, I'm going to try to be greedy with Microsoft and wait for this bottom tick. Maybe we should have been a little bit more greedy with the Qs, but there it is, right back up to the upside again. So we just got out at 85. Now it's back up to O's. That is what that is. Amgen not doing anything. DraftKings, we are waiting. Oh, Amgen's doing something. It's 20 cents in the money. You guys can look at that. We are almost, DraftKings is not affecting the net whatsoever because it's just back and forth right now. So hopefully, we're already out. Like once this came into the 50 period, we got an amazing out. We got a great out at 41s at that one point as well. And then my best out on all of this, if we zoom back in, is just 34s. So not much happening there on DKNG. So, you know what we're looking for there, a flush. And if that doesn't happen, that doesn't happen. Palantir though, like, you know, I talked to Kathy Wood, and I thought we decided that we were out of this trade. But I was out, and apparently she just was buying more. So good job there on Palantir. Like I said, net, you know, great stock.
We're going to pull up Kathy's ARC tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not tomorrow, maybe next week. Let's just...
We'll have a look at what she holds as well, as the percentages. I don't know. I know that she was in DraftKings, so we can find out. Still is. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
I assume she still is, but I don't know the weightings. So I'm just talking about it because I have DraftKings right now, and we did. Palantir's the #1 P&L name there. So happy with it. Hopefully we can hold that and continue to print on that name day after day. But for right now, good little long there on Palantir. It's 3:37, so we only have a few more minutes before those imbalances come through. We can do a quick little look. Right now. So Brendan you already gave it to us. 200 to sell, was it? Or was
No, it was a buy. It was a buy.
Okay, so TRP again, we talked about, you know, the rails and everything like that and where they're going. So we'll see. This is TC Energy though. The rails. Utilities, TRP right there. So utilities gotten absolutely smashed as of late. Oh, look at this, man. We also talked about picking up some banks today. Canadian banks, mind you. I actually emailed my father today. I was like, we got to take care of some money. And I was like, you know what? Why not go back into start buying some of these Canadian banks this morning? We talked about that live on the show. So if you did it, those were good. There's BNS as well. I didn't even know these were up because I stopped looking at them. Bank of Nova Scotia.
All the banks bounced today. Was
big time, yeah, up 1% as well. So that could have been good. BAC's a sell, but that's a nice bounce. But it's the Canadian banks that we talked about earlier today that is making that nice move to the upside. So, hey, if anybody sort of was with us this morning and you happened to dip into those, remember I said XFN was a good one for the Canada and XLF for the US. So far so good if you dip bought any of those. Still a lot more to go though.
Yeah, I just got out of Apple. You can see, just come to my chart quickly, another lower high for Apple. There we are. And it could not make that break to the high of the day, so trail out there. Always want to give it that stair step, but at this time, it's like one in. You got to be getting out of it. I want to shout out, we just had 4L Taz. Thank you for gifting those memberships. 5 gifted memberships.
Big time.
Thank you very much for that. We appreciate it. It's one of those things when you sign into the chat, if you're a sub and you're in the chat, then you have the ability to accept those. I think you get prompted for it when you come into the chat the first time, and then they get randomly handed out to people that are in there. So thank you very much for that. Low of the day could come in on Rivian. I said 4 hours ago, 3 hours ago, 3.5 hours ago, technically speaking, this is the level I wanted, and then I got it on the back end. Like the first bounce off the 200 period was the good one. I take the second one. If it takes out the low of the day, fair enough. But the first bounce was usually the better one. The second time, I'll take it. The third time, I usually don't touch it. We're still holding that low, but Rivian is the absolute dumpster fire. It can't even hold on to the 200 period moving average, although we'll see what happens tomorrow. I did rinse and repeat AMD, so it's still holding that short range. And this entire time I've been in this SoFi long, while the market's been dancing around, like it broke out the top, and it's just sort of sitting there holding the top. It's not really doing anything. Again, like it's not, I got to get out. I'm on the offer just to try and get like 2 or 3 cents, but it's not really flushing. It's not really ripping. Sometimes it's just a nothing burger. Fair enough. I like the level. That doesn't mean it actually has to move on that level, whether you like it or not. Like I like the breakout level. It's great that it's not going against me, but it's also not really doing anything. 10 minutes to go until we get that actual imbalance, which my fear would be that it goes from a small buy to a gigantic sell. And if that happens, actually it probably doesn't really matter to SoFi. I'll be out of it on a tight stop anyways, and then Rivian have a stop at the low of the day. So it really doesn't even matter. And then AMD would be great if that happened. There was something else I wanted to get to. It'll come to me in a second. It wasn't Apple. It wasn't NVIDIA. It'll come to me in a second.
10 minutes, and just a quick little update there. We did take a piece out, half of what we had left on Microsoft. It's just, I was thinking, you know, it's most likely not going to hold there. So we're going to get out right now on Microsoft and then see what happens after that. So that's what we're doing right now, looking to get exit out here on Softy. So we did get a piece out there, half of what we had left, and we did good, man. We got it out at 55. So, I mean, so far so good there. Pretty happy with that execution on that trade. DraftKings unable to get anything lower, and Amgen, oops, that's Apple. Oh yeah, Apple, okay. Apple long was good, obviously, and still looking at that, but I wanted to look at Amgen though quickly. So we did get a piece out when it broke higher. That was that stop order that we had. So now we'll see. But again, you know, to take something out for 30-cent hit and to make $1, this is instantly, like I couldn't believe it. 264.60 out, 263.30 right there. So definitely risk to reward wins here today on Amgen. But we're still holding a small piece. Let's see if it goes right there. Oh, okay, thank you very much. We'll go a little bit of hot dog cannon because, hey, you know, when you're betting on games and especially baseball, baseball season, obviously we shouldn't talk about it because ours is over, but still lots of great baseball to go. Enjoy hot dogs and enjoy gambling, or don't enjoy it, with DraftKings. And tonight, of course, football. We do have a big game tonight.
No, it's not a big game. Is it a big game?
Well, I think for both those franchises, maybe, because like the Bears, if they get owned, is it in Chicago actually?
It doesn't matter where it is.
No, but I just
Bears are going to lose wherever it is.
Okay. So the Bears could.
I'm starting the Washington defense.
Yeah, the Washington defense is going to get quite a number of sacks there.
I'm saying 5. You know, the over-under might actually be that high.
Who's playing? Yeah, Commanders, Bears.
I
know what I mean. We're talking football here.
Brought to you by IG.com. Trade Forex pairs like Euro USD with spreads as low as 0.8 pips and 0 commissions at IG. Terms and conditions apply.
There you go.
Frank Caberna at IG. So,
that is right.
Yeah, go check them out. Go see what's going on over there. And hit that QR code.
Scan that QR
code. I should just scan it right now.
We show you guys, to make sure it works, we show you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly. First bounce good, second bounce no good. There will not be a third on Rivian because it is only going lower. I'm going to hang on to AMD. It was Tesla. That was the stock I was trying to think about. 261 did not hold. 261 was actually... Like, look at the line. I have a bad wick, so it's making the scaling on the chart screwed up, but that is pretty much exactly 261 resistance on Tesla now. And if you're wondering why that, because we closed like a fraction above that price. A lot of times, if the previous close is 261.10 or 16 like it is, if I'm drawing a line in the chart, I just kind of throw it at 261 because I'm lazy. Like, I know what I mean by it, but That's why I find this and draw the line at the even, not really caring exactly where it closed, but looks like Tesla is going to close in the red today. Still going to hang on to AMD short, and I suppose SoFi is just not going to move at all. That is freakish.
Brennan just
Freakish.
updated it, 208 to buy.
Yeah, it's still the same imbalance. I feel it might actually come out to the sell side, but I'm not. You don't really know. You're guessing where the imbalances are going to come out. When you look at the early numbers, none of them have changed. It's still looking at least a little bit mixed. Remember, this is just the New York for some of the early look that you're going to get. Like, it's not really telling you the entire story. Like, when all the NASDAQ names come out, then you'll know what's up, right? Like, if all the big cap tech names come to the sell side, then that buy and balance is going to be a huadunk, right?
I was just looking because right here on Market Chameleon, we're going to actually talk about VinFast a little bit here on the recap show, but they had it as aftermarket close today. Oh, we already know that VinFast is already out, but right there, aftermarket close. So
Yeah, it was a surprise.
yeah, I was just looking at it because I wanted to say, is there anything that we could talk about? Constellation Brands coming through tomorrow morning, 44 bill, and then Levi Strauss is tonight, AMC. There's nothing else aftermarket close. I was hoping to find one that I missed, but I knew it was only Levi's. We look at that. We'll review Levi as it comes out, but I'm not expecting much of a report there, as it's just a single-digit billion-dollar company. Can't believe, like, that's still nice. But where it's come from, for sure.
What a joke.
Watch. Okay. What happened there? Okay.
The market just bounced.
Oh, we got short. We got shorter there. We got in and out there on Microsoft. I was like, why do I have more shares on Microsoft? But in and out right there. Okay, so that was strange. Microsoft comes out. So look, as the market's starting to go back up to the upside, so if you saw a different price change in Microsoft, I think I must have had an offer. Well, I must have had an offer. Like, I wouldn't have an offer at 15 and then getting out at 20, so I just must have forgot about that there at the day's high. So just a quick flip there. Did not mean to average in on that, but we got out on Microsoft. But you know what? The good thing about getting out there on Microsoft, honestly, is this. Like, we got out of half of what we had left, and we actually talked about that. So that was like a really good out down there. And I think we just got stopped on the Qs, did we as well? Yes. So again, the Qs, my number one stock is Palantir. Number two is the Qs, despite getting stopped out there and then now finally getting stopped out on this double reload. But again, like, that stop out is where we're in. So that's not an L. Like, that's a good stop, considering that we have our best outs there are 60s off of I guess it was a 15 or so short. So we just didn't get the action downside there. I think that's, for me, that's always going to be worth it, no matter what, is to try to wait for a pullback there. And if we get it, and if something makes sense on that, like we break below 50-period moving averages, that's generally a trend-changing line there. So I'm happy with it. We did not get the pull down into the 200 like I was hoping for on both of these names. Look at Microsoft as if, what are you going to do? There's the push down there, and probably the Qs, right?
Yeah.
And there's the Qs. So we'll get stopped out on some of those plays, and then this is what happens.
I just punched out flat of SoFi. Like, it was starting to go up, and I'm like, oh, it might actually. I was on the offer at the high of the day. Whatever. If it's only going to give you the high of the day, you're just going to sit on the offer there. It filled 69. The rest of it was going to be at that 70. High is at 71. And then, like, 2 seconds later, I'm punching out flat because it doesn't want to go anywhere. AMD is still doing the exact same dance. Like, it will not break this channel. So it gets to the exact top of the range, hits the offer, does not break the top. I get 25s in, it goes right back and holds 103 even. I still think if we roll over, this is like flat bottom break, and I'm still bidding 102 half here. But there will be no more reloads because it is 3:48, which means there's 2 minutes to go till we get the imbalances. Rivian is insane. It's Captain Insano today. $18. 1801, actually, not $18. 1801. It is still going. It's not funny. I'm sure there's a lot of people that own this stock. I don't, but wow.
There might be some people that are short.
You know, there's absolutely zero. Like, there's a lot of people that are short this stock. You're probably holding on to it. Like, I almost feel as if there could be a buy imbalance on this just because people are like, I'm holding it till the auction. I'm just throwing it into the closing auction. We sold it at the open, and we're going to buy it back at the close. And that's it. You're not convincing me to get it. I actually wouldn't be surprised if you saw some kind of a buy imbalance, or if it's a sell imbalance, it gets paired off really, really fast on Rivian, just because of that fact, because it is down so far that people just want to take this one out into that closing auction. That's what the auction's for. right? Like, why not just buy it at that point? Hold on to it until it stops working. Like, when does it stop working today? This is nasty. I just never thought we'd see 24. Larry Wanta, Rivian bankrupt 2024. Well, the thing about those convertible bonds,
It's like it's not.
if
like
they ain't
a
around,
question.
then, you know, just saying.
It is a big possibility to be bankrupt.
If the company ain't there, then.
I mean, with the amount of debt, I mean, you just have to look at it. I don't want to confuse Rivian with all the other ones, but look at.
Oh, yeah. Rivian is not well, okay, let me say.
That's what I mean. I don't
Rivian's
know.
not Mullen.
Or Lucid.
Or, yeah, Lucid or.
Well, Lucid has huge debt, right? But they just keep getting funded by the Saudis. So that keeps on working out for them.
Jeff Wright has a nice quote here. Rivian, it's had its hand knocked off by a lightsaber and been blown out the window. You know what? There's a great fan theory that Mace Windu didn't die when he got blown out the window. So maybe Rivian isn't dead after all.
Yeah, there's always theories about everything, and that could be one with Rivian. I don't know if it's a trap for Rivian or not, but it definitely is going down.
It's better than the other ones, I think. But.
Right now. So, okay. Today, VinFast reported a 159% increase in Q3 revenues today. So, okay, here we go. We are out now, so we're going to find out what this number exactly is. I don't have anything on board that's really going to move right now, so we'll just see what's happening.
Rivian is a 1.2 million to buy.
There it is.
There it is.
But, yeah.
But it made sense to me.
I mean, Neil, it's only done 170 million.
No, but the whole point is that there are people that are just like, why? It's zero reason to get out, so why not just throw it into the auction? You're holding it till the close. Like, the trend has been pretty clear. So AMD, I didn't see AMD, but it just bounced a little bit. So
what's the number there? 320 to buy. So it basically comes out as expected. We were expecting a small couple $100 million buy. Came out a little bit bigger than that. It was 2 versus 3. So there we go. BNS still stays a buy side. I mean, Intel $1 million to buy goes down on that. That's why these aren't always the case. You may want to use this little bump up in Rivian to get short, quite frankly, on that one. Coke, I mean, just keep applying the pressure on KO, man. This name is just like throwing up all over itself here. I mean, look at the daily chart on Coke. See you later. Look at the 20-minute on Coke. 2 or 3 green candles on a 20-minute here for KO, man. KO is getting, I mean, this is such low-hanging fruit. KO's getting KO'd.
You got knocked the... I can't say the rest of it.
You know, I mean, that
we can
that
say
was,
ish, but, you know, I can't say that.
That was all right. I mean,
you guys know what I mean.
I'm happy with that one. But it is getting KO'd. So there we go. And then what else is coming through right now is DKNG. That's going to come to the downside right here on that number as well. So let's just end it all. Right now, we'll put a bid there on DraftKings, see if we can get a 40. End it. We're at 56, 16-cent winner, man. We'll take that. And maybe we will not. We will just punch out there at 43s. And there it is. Well, we get some half prints there on that. And there it goes right up through. So we now take it out on DraftKings. We are now out of that. 13 cents on the last piece. We put a bid at 40 and missed it. Other than that, man, we gone. We go. Nothing left. Our Microsoft is upside. Our Qs is not. And this is why, you know, trading stocks sometimes will be great. And obviously that's what I do every day, but it can move counter of the market. So the market's not doing anything right now. And Microsoft is green and blasting to the upside. So again, as a big piece of the pie of my portfolio, happy with that. But look at the triple Qs. Like I look at Microsoft, I'm like, oh man, the Qs must be blasting. No, the Qs are doing nothing right now. So we got a piece out there. But again, my number one stock, just as a review today, Palantir, the triple Qs, 1, 2, Apple 3, no, Amgen 3, Apple 4. So that's it, man. We're done, and what a great show. Thank you so much. Make sure you do hit the like and subscribe. Because Sharif's not here, I think I don't have it, but he did email us and say, please hit that. So
like, subscribe, and share the show that takes you into the heart of the market every day.
Okay, so
he actually just said to hit it all the time.
So you're welcome,
He wants us to always hit it.
You know, the thing is, it's so amazing that he's at the gym now and still messaging us. Please make sure.
Yeah, he's not. He should be focused on his workout.
So
really, because clearly that guy needs to focus at the gym more.
He needs to focus on lots of things, and the gym is one of those things for sure.
Someone asked in the chat, like, what do we mean by throw into the auction if you're in Rivian? See, if you were short 1,000 shares, you put a market on buy. MOC order into the closing auction on the NASDAQ. So when it came out a bid, you throw it into that auction. Then wherever the stock closes, you get that print. That's what the auction is there for. Yes. So you don't offset it. That's the rebound. It makes a lot of logical sense. Like there was no break in the trend of the day, so you hold it into the close. Why wouldn't you do that? Renata just asked in the chat, is it time to buy Alibaba in the long term? I've thought that a few times, and each time I've thought that I've been wrong, so I'm the wrong person. I am the wrong person to ask. Every time I try to get into Alibaba thinking there can be any kind of a bid, it doesn't seem to want to hold it.
It was rebooted.
It's a holiday week in China. That's why you're seeing pretty bad volumes and not a lot of movement or volatility on it. Maybe this is a good level. I would like to think that underneath 80 is a better level, just looking at the daily chart. So it is near a bottom that hasn't really meant anything for this stock recently. So I don't want to be married to the notion that, you know, it's a good value in traditional terms in a lot of reasons, but you look at that entire space and predicting bottoms is impossible. AMD cannot seem to get underneath 103. A bit frustrating, but I am holding on to the last piece. I have a stop above this local high at 103.30. Doesn't seem to want to break one direction or the other for AMD. What else you guys got there? I just saw NVIDIA is falling, absolutely right. Is it a good time to short, Baba? I mean, the chart's been telling you that for a while. I think we're talking about like buy and hold for 5 years, I'm assuming, right? Which is much different than shorting somewhere else. Mick J, I just saw you put that in the chat. Just found intermittent fasting 2 months ago, and it's great. I've been doing it for, a few years now, actually. It's been at least, I want to say it's been at least 3 years, and I do like minimum 12 hours, nothing too crazy for me. I found it's been fantastic for energy levels. My workouts got better almost instantly in terms of having energy for those every single day. Maybe it's just, you know what I think the best thing about intermittent fasting is? Everything I was eating in the evenings past 8 o'clock was crap anyway. So at a bare minimum, the worst snacking is just completely eliminated when you do that. So it could just be that, or it could be nothing. With less than 5 minutes to go, the market is now you're getting a bit of a reversal. I'm going to throw my bid back in here on AMD. See if this one doesn't finally work now that the floodgates are opening up to the downside. It's not just that. NVIDIA, this is starting to give it up as well. Look at the rollover. A little more confident AMD is going to give it up after what I just saw with NVIDIA. Apple's underneath 175. What else we got here? Yeah, Rivian bounce is starting to reverse there. What happens at 355 is usually you get some bounces pairing. Rivian stayed at 1.2 million, but it's still kind of pulled back pretty heavily. It was up at that same top as before, 18.4. Same top and a bit of a pullback without the market pairing off. So it's still 1.2 to buy, but there's enough selling. They're like, we don't care about the imbalance. We're going to pull it back anyways. The entire bounce off that move was 40 cents. It bounced off $18 on a 1.2 million buy imbalance after dropping $3 on the day, and all it could give you was 30 cents, 35 cents, maybe 40, depending on where you got it. That's just a nasty day on Rivian. And if you're wondering, like, did this bleed over elsewhere? The answer was, to a certain extent, like, there was a short on Lucid, but Lucid caught a bid and got into VWAP. Like, if you played Lucid off $5 today saying, hey man, this is a Rivian story, just buy Lucid at an even dollar level because there's nothing actually happening specifically to it, that was lower hanging fruit. $5, double bottom, you didn't really have to fight it. It was just a get long 02s, 03s, risk a couple of cents, and instead of fighting Rivian, you could have just picked, hey, let's go long $5 on Lucid, and that would have been the end of it. It's not that bad. Tony Price, I've been intermittent fasting 1 meal a day for 2.5 years.
Congratulations!
I can't do that. I can't eat only 1 meal in a day. I can do the intermittent fasting where like I'm condensing my 3 meals a day and my snacks, but there's 0% chance that I am not mentally capable of it. I don't have that kind of discipline, man. Congratulations to you if you can pull that off. 1 meal a day? Oh no, like what happens when like, I walked up to the desk in the middle of the day and I had something to say to Fabian and I saw like there was a butter tart. It was just sitting there and I'm like, you guys gonna eat that? And they're like, okay, we can share it with you, Neil. Because I can't see a pastry and not eat it. That's the level of, it's so bad. I'm so bad about that. It's really bad for me. I just absolutely love those pastries. But shout out to everyone in the chat that has that level of discipline. I'm not that dude. I'll try my best, but I know who I am. I know my limits. I'm going to trail my stop here on AMD. You know what? Forget it. If it gets back above 103, I'm just getting out. We got 1 minute to go. There it goes. It got back above 103. AMD ends up being strong off this 103 level. So the short was good. It just couldn't fill in. Note that one for tomorrow. AMD and the 103 level. The buying at the end of the day has been relentless. It was the same thing yesterday when you thought it was going to roll over, and it just didn't want to do it. So with 1 minute in, pretty sure Adara is going to be on the bell. It's one of those fun days in the market where you had Flush City at the open, you had that ramp up in the afternoon. Apple, for the second day in a row, was a rocket ship to the upside. I know it's actually going to close green on the day. It was up at 1%, but it was a rocket ship in the afternoon. It didn't matter where you joined Apple as long as you joined the long in the afternoon. Just do not forget that this is like that one name, NVIDIA to an extent too, that holds up at the end of these days, no matter how bad it does get, but it is going to be red on the NASDAQ. Shout out to Randy for turning the markets a couple of times here today. We'll see what happens when he comes by the desk tomorrow. Can he do it 3 times? My guess is no. The real trick would be, can Randy turn Rivian around? My guess is no chance in hell that's what you got. But we're going to get the camera off me, put it where it needs to be, and that's over to Adara to ring the bell on this Thursday, which has been a dumpster fire if you're in Rivian, but has been a heck of a lot of fun if you were trading anything else on the bounce in 4, 3, 2, and... for the record, I see what you put in there. Look, man, I see exactly what you put in there, TH, okay? The market was strong, unlike the Blue Jays. That's unnecessary. The Jays lost, I get it. I wasn't in a very good mood about it. We've talked way too much about it, and I'm still probably going to dwell on it in the offseason. It's fine. The Jays suck. I get it. I've decided at the end of the day that I kind of want to support Atlanta. I like their team. You guys can give me reasons for supporting somebody else, but yeah, that was a good one. You kind of got... You don't have to do that. Yeah, failed. Thank you. That's what we should do for the Toronto Blue Jays. Shout out to Fabian for giving us those fantastic graphics and throwing the fail on my Jays, and Ramin as well. Mark doing a heck of a job. These guys have been working tirelessly. The midday, as always, has been fire. We had Obi. Obviously, we're always going to have Sharif and Adara doing a great job as well. Obi's going to be on the main show tomorrow as Sean's got the long weekend going on. He'll be off on Friday. We're going to have Obi on the main desk. He always does a fantastic job, as does Brennan at the big desk with our big guest, Frank. Every single day, he crushes it. And don't forget, tomorrow, we're going to have Peter Schiff at 1 o'clock. So special guest in the middle of the day. For now, we're going to our man at the desk for the recap show. A lot to talk about because... just a few things moved today. A little bit of an opportunity to review. Maybe Rivian? I have no idea, but let's go to the desk and find out.
Hey, traders. Welcome to the